Hello all, 21st of January 2018, you're here with Dan in Essex, UK. So the grapevines have arrived that I ordered from Kent Muir via the internet, and they look like they're in very good condition. Just have an inspection here. Yes, you can see nice neat grafts there with the old wax on that one, and a nice one here as well. So I'm very happy indeed. And they arrive in a nice box, nice sized box, and one feature that I did like is the fact that they staple here and here onto the pots to stop them from rolling about. Of course, I'm sure the couriers are very careful, but you know, you never can be too careful really when you are transporting live plants. So that's a nice little feature indeed. Now each vine cost £14.13, which was a reduction from £15.70, so I think that's very good indeed. There was a delivery cost, but of course you expect to pay that because they are being delivered, and as I stated before, they've been delivered in good quality and good condition, so happy about that. And what you get a nice little booklet, how to grow your own fruit, from Kent Muir, and a catalogue as well, which you would expect a company to send you out, so quite happy about that. So let's inspect the vines. So Vitis Vinifera, otherwise known as grapes, and two varieties I ordered, and that is Autumn Royal Indoor Black Blue Seedless grape with firm juicy flesh and thin skin. Ripens late in the season and is best grown indoors. Now the reason for this is because this is a Californian variety, and the majority of you will know that in California they tend to get much longer and warmer summers than we get. So a little bit about this one. Released in 1996 by breeders David Ramming and Ron Tarailo. Large berries, about 8 grams, which is rather large for a seedless variety. Oval shape and purple-black in colour, as stated before, with a thin skin, and ripening late September to October. And I'm quite happy about that, and this is destined to go in the polytunnel. So the other variety we have here is Lakemont Seedless. Spoke a lot about this before, but if you're new to my channel, we'll go over it again. A modern disease-resistant green seedless grape. It's a big improvement of Thompson Seedless, which I believe is one of the parents of this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Best grown in a cold greenhouse, but can also be grown, also be on a warm wall. That's it. So I've always grown this variety outside. If you haven't done so already, look on my channel and on the playlist of grapes, and you'll see just how well I've done with this variety in this part of the UK. And from my own experience, I can't recommend this variety enough. So let's just see how this one does. So Lakemont was released in 1972, and it's from the US, New York State. High disease resistance, which of course is great. High yields, and that I can speak from personal experience. And they've got a lovely yellow, sort of green colour. When they're more yellowish, I find they're very sweet, almost honey-like, and I really like that. So both of these varieties can be used for eating fresh and making wine as well. So you know, whatever floats your boat regarding grapes, whether you want like nice table grapes or whether you want to make some wine, both of these could be suitable for you. And you know, what I wanted one to go in the polytunnel because I wanted to grow something a little bit different that I hadn't grown before. So I've chosen a relatively, you could call it exotic variety, you know, not from the UK climate, etc., or not bred for the UK climate, but we can just see how this one does. And I wanted a known quantity because this one's going to go outside, and you know, I haven't done much with regards to growing grapes in recent years, but I want to get back to it because out of growing your own, growing grapes is one of the things that I enjoy the most, because obviously I like eating them, but there is a challenge involved because the vines can be very vigorous and pruning them, etc., can be quite a challenge. But they also produce, you know, very heavily, and you tend to get them after your plums and your cherries are produced, so it kind of extends the fruiting period, the fruiting season, if you want to call it that. So that's what I wanted to do, and not to mention the fact once the vine is mature, you can take cuttings very, very easily indeed. So that's a good thing as well. And with regards to growing grapes, there's a massive history on it. I mean, if you think about the Romans growing wine was held in very high regard in Roman culture. And with regards to, if you look back in history, with regards to the Americas and Europe, the European colonisation of the US, they took vines over there, and American vines have been brought here, etc. And over the years, the varieties have sort of been fused, if you want to call it that, and created some modern day varieties in that regard in some ways. And it's really interesting because there was a bug, I can't remember the name of it now, phylloxera or something like that, that was, you know, it was almost responsible for the destruction of the French wine trade, the Great French Wine Blight, I think they call it. I'm sorry, I'm going through my memory here, but little bug that was eating the roots, I believe, of the French varieties, obviously causing the vine to die, etc. Not a good thing, or weaken it at the very least. And the way they got round this, they found that with regards to the American varieties that were being grown over here, being grown in Europe, they found that the bug would eat the leaves of the American variety but leave the roots alone, but which they were eating the roots of the French and European varieties. So it's quite interesting, really. So what they did was they grafted European varieties onto American rootstocks, and this helped the problem very much because the bugs didn't attack the roots. So interesting, very interesting, and there's all these things you can learn if you want to with regards to history, because of course nowadays many of us, we just go into the supermarket and we see a grape, some grapes, and we think, oh yes, there it is, it's just appeared. But if you think of the history behind it and what has gone into it, by our forefathers, planning and thinking, and the great minds involved to create what we have now. So worth a bit of research, I think. So quite happy. What I'm probably going to do is train, one each way, one that way, one that way, and just let it go. Of course, this is going to go in a polytunnel, so I can't let it get massive. And as I've stated before, the heat in a polytunnel tends to act as a catalyst and make growing even quicker. So quite looking forward to that. And this one here, they're not going to go in yet. These will both be perfectly cold tolerant. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them down over here, and we are going to see just how they do when I put them in. So might even put one in later on today, but there is no rush. As long as they're in, probably before January, we should be fine. Okay then, hope you enjoyed that video. Take care and speak soon.